Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and man, oh man, of course, we're still living off the high off of that win. Not only just a win, but a dominant win, especially defensively. But we're here to dive into two major topics. One small topic in the beginning of the video. Then we're going to dive into our first major topic about how the Commanders got some great news after the Giants win. Some really, really good news. And then the second half of this video will be talking about and diving into with some advanced stats and some proof as to how JCM, aka Bill, aka Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, is he potentially the next Jayden Daniels. Advanced stats. Love the Washington Commanders 7th round rookie running back. We're going to dive into all of that and more, because we're even going to compare him to the other rookie running backs around the NFL, to compare him to see how his debut went compared to those guys, all of that. We're also even going to compare him to all of the running backs in the entire NFL. I have a chart, like this advanced stats chart, that literally makes Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt look like one of the best running backs in the NFL already as a rookie from his first game debut ever. Again, we're going to dive into all of that and more, but before we do, make sure you still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinion video just like this one. Shouts out to my watch all the way through gang, man. My watch to the end gang, man. Shouts out to all of y'all. And of course, I'm recording this right now at 4:30 a.m. So shouts out to my late night crew as well, man. So shouts out to watch all the way through the end game and my late night crew. Really appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and dive into this video instead of wasting even more of y'all time. Let's get it. Adam. Alright, so first of all, the small news, let's get it out the way before we dive into the two major topics that we're going to dive into in this video. First of all, Kendrick Bourne is apparently returning home and going to the San Francisco 49ers on a one-year deal worth up to a max value of $5 million per his agents and everybody that came out from Adam Schefter. And I mean, I'm not really that surprised. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I guess he realized the 49ers need him and the Commanders don't. You know, if he would have picked the Commanders, it would have been because of better quarterback. It would have been because, you know, better Super Bowl contender between the Commanders and the 49ers. Of course, better quarterback, Jayden Daniels over Brock Purdy, like obviously there. You know what I'm saying? Some people would maybe even argue at this point, better offensive mind than Cliff Kingsbury, even over a Kyle Shanahan. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's basically like Kendrick Bourne, and I feel like it couldn't have been money. If the max value is $5 million, I highly doubt that the Commanders offered much less than that. That's already a little bit. So I'm assuming Kendrick Bourne wanted to go somewhere where he can have a larger role, which makes sense too. Like with him leaving the Patriots, with him wanting to get out of there, because remember, he got cut because he wanted to be cut. It wasn't like the Patriots were like, man, you're not that good anymore. We were trying to get rid of you, trying to clear up a roster spot. No, Kendrick Bourne was like, bro, please, this team is going nowhere. Let me go somewhere where I can matter. So him leaving the Patriots with their situation, I thought that maybe he wants to go somewhere where he can contend for a Super Bowl now that he's getting up there in age. He's basically the same age as Terry McLaurin. Or he wants to go somewhere where not only are they competitive, maybe they don't necessarily have to be a Super Bowl contender, but they're a competitive team. They're not as bad as what the Patriots look like they're potentially going to be this year. And he has a way that he can contribute strongly. He's going to be one of the top receivers on the team. Well, that's the problem. You come in here, Terry McLaurin didn't even get a lot of looks last week. And I mean, of course, we're going to have a lot more games this season where Terry McLaurin does get a lot more looks. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of a little bit of a fluke. I still feel like maybe there's a little bit of chemistry issues between Jayden and Terry. Terry holding out a lot of the offseason. So I'm just expecting Terry McLaurin's going to get more targets and catches as the season goes on. Deebo Samuel's already getting a lot of target and carries. We're going to talk about Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt the second half of this video. I mean, the way he balled out, remember, that was only 10 carries. So he's going to start to get more carries. I wouldn't be surprised if Jayden Daniels has some games where he runs with his legs a little bit more. Like, there's just so many mouths to feed. Zach Ertz was very effective and had a touchdown. He didn't have a lot of targets or catches. Noah Brown had a couple. Jalen Lane only had a couple. There's so many mouths to feed. Kendrick Bourne probably watched that game against the Giants and was like, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I guess I could just sign on with this team and maybe just catch a ride to be a part of a Super Bowl contender. But I prefer to go somewhere where I feel like I'm needed. The 49ers make a lot of sense that way. Shouts out to Jay Daniels MVP. He said, Kendrick Bourne signing with the 49ers doesn't surprise me one bit. He clearly wants a bigger role than what Washington is willing to offer. The Niners are having injuries at the wide receiver position. That's a great point. Brandon Ayuk's already hurt, and then already gaining more injuries that they sustained in that week 1 game just this weekend, which gives Bourne more opportunities. Not necessarily about Jayden or Purdy as his quarterback. Of course, we know that. No, there's no way anybody thought that he chose the 49ers over the Commanders because of quarterback. I really hope nobody's out there thinking that, because anybody that's thinking that, you might as well just go ahead and block them, because then you're not going to have an intelligent football conversation with that person in any way, shape, or form ever. You might as well just go ahead and get that one out the way. So I don't know who Jay Daniels MVP has been talking to or who he's been seeing, but I don't even want to be on that side of the internet, that side of Twitter. That's scary. And also shouts out to Denton D-Day. He said he wanted those miles. Respect. Because remember, he went and visited the 49ers, then the Commanders. I mean, he's flying from New England to San Francisco to DC, now back to the 49ers. Yeah, he was just trying to get them frequent flying miles up, bro. He was just trying to get them flight mile points up. That's cool. Shouts out to Denton D-Day for pointing that out. Now let's dive into the first major topic of this video. I just felt like we kind of had to get that out the way. I saw that, wanted to update y'all on the fact that yes, Kendrick Bourne has signed with another team, and I'm not about to just sit here and act like he's a bad receiver because he went somewhere else. I still feel like if he would have signed with us, probably could have been like the 4th best receiver on the team. Not just gonna sit here and act like we just missed out on a guy that wasn't gonna matter anyway. Like, yeah, go to the 49ers, you suck anyway. I'm not even gonna do that to him. He's a good receiver, and that's why I felt like I was obligated after telling y'all that I wanted him to sign with the Commanders. Hey, where did that Kendrick Bourne guy go? Where did he end up? Well, I just wanted to make sure I included that now. Now let's dive into the first major topic: how the Commanders got some great news after that Giants win. And to me, honestly, after a win, especially a win that dominant, the best news you can get is that your team is still mostly healthy. Of course, Samuel Cosmi's on the PUP list. Started the season off on the PUP list. The soonest we'll get him back, at the very soonest, is week 5 versus the Los Angeles Chargers, October 5th, and that will be in Los Angeles. That's going to be a home game for us, basically, because Jayden Daniels alone, let alone the fact that the Chargers don't have a lot of fans anyway. Whenever they have home games, the other team typically takes over the stadium. I feel like we're going to do that naturally just because we're such a great team, and also, that's Jayden Daniels' hometown. He's from the IE. There's going to be so many just Jayden Daniels fans in jerseys there. They may not even necessarily be Commanders fans, so I'm not worried about that. But also on top of that, even without Samuel Cosmi, we were still a very healthy team. Like, excluding Samuel Cosmi, we were 100% loaded, fully healthy going into that Giants game. Now, granted, we did sustain some injuries, as you can see on the screen. Tressway with the back injury. I'm just going to assume that happened on that where Ben Sinnott just got whooped bad by Abdul Carter on that play, where Abdul Carter ended up actually hitting the punt. There, Tressway, he ended up blocking it a little bit. I don't know how Tressway ended up kicking that to like the Giants 29 after it got blocked. That means he put a ridiculous amount of power on that kick for it to get blocked and to still go that far. That was insane. Some punters can only kick it that far without it being blocked. So that's just insane stuff from Tressway. So that further proves the point that, man, him having a back injury is a little scary. I hope he's good to go, because Tressway matters, bro. Field positioning wise, he is as great as it gets in the NFL, bro. The punts he's able to do, I just love it. He wasn't able to ever really pin them deep into their own territory, but I just love the fact that we just constantly, there was one punt when we were back in like our own like 20 or 30 yard line. He kicked it all the way to the Giants 20, 30 yard line. So instead of us having to start with ugly field positioning defensively, we were able to start with like it was a normal drive, like nothing ever happened. Like the offense just didn't completely let the defense down or something like that. Tressway made up for the lack of offense that we produced in that previous offensive drive and allowed the defense to start with a lot of field to cover, which is how you want it. So Tressway, get well soon. I hope he's good to go. I mean, Dan Quinn didn't really say anything significant as far as Tressway. I guess we'll get more updates soon. The sad part is, though, we play the Packers Thursday. We just played Sunday. 4 days later, we got to get ready for the Packers. So we're going to have some quick back-to-back practices. Typically, I think they have like Monday off on a normal week. When we play Sunday and we don't play again until the next Sunday, 7 days later, I think typically they get Monday off. Then they practice Tuesday. A lot of the vets get the Wednesday off. And then I think they practice that last practice Thursday. But again, since we play the Packers Thursday, everything gets, consolidated into like the earlier part of the week, which means now, I mean, going into that week 3 game against the Las Vegas Raiders, we're going to have a week and a half to prepare. You know, I feel like, I mean, out of all opponents on our schedule, that's the one we probably need the least extra time to prepare for, but I'll take it. But either way, Tressway, get well soon. Hopefully we'll get more. I'll have y'all more updates, especially as they update us probably later on today, as in Tuesday. Again, it's 4:40 a.m. as I'm recording this. Then Noah Brown and Austin Eckler. I expected Noah Brown to be limited. It seemed like he was on a pitch count even in that game against the Giants. He played well, other than that offsides penalty that he had that took away his own great play. But in the, you know, spare times that he was out there and got targeted, he made his catches sure-handed, made some big plays, got some first downs for us, most importantly. So but I'm not surprised. He came into the season, he went into training camp with this knee injury that he sustained back in mandatory minicamp, to where we were afraid that he may miss the entire season because it sounded like some ACL stuff. So he's just still slowly working his way back, ramping up, you know, still going slightly, kind of still going through like a rehab process right now. So he's not 100%, but he's good enough to play on Sundays at times on a pitch count, you know, limited snaps. And so I'm not surprised by him. Austin Eckler, shoulder injury, that's a new one, and he was limited, but and maybe that's why Ja'Cory Carson-Merritt was able to go out there and finish a lot of the game. And then that last drive where we were just trying to chew the clock, that was a lot of Jeremy McNichols there. So maybe the Austin Eckler injury, maybe it's serious, or maybe that was just precautionary to pull him. But I think he'll be fine. The fact that he was limited and not like a did not participate on the thing, not a DNP, I think he'll be fine. We should be good to go. Plus, I mean, the second half of this video, we're going to talk about Ja'Cory Carson-Merritt and why, even if Austin Eckler is banged up, we should be great to go. I love Austin Eckler. I want him out there bad. I mean, that when he had that false start and then more than made up for it on the very next play where he got all of the yards back and more for a big 15, 16-yard first down. He made like 3-4 guys miss. Don't sleep on Austin Eckler, bro. That guy is still a very important part of this offense. We're excited about Ja'Cory Carson-Merritt, but Austin Eckler is important, but I'm hoping that he's ready to go. John Bates, shoulder injury. Not exactly sure where that came from, but he participated full, so he must be good to go. Jayden Daniels, apparently some sort of a right wrist injury, participated full. And if there's going to be anybody that they're precautionary with, it's Jayden Daniels. So the fact that he practiced in full, great news. It's interesting that he's even on the injury report at all, but I guess they had to report it. But it's good to know that Jayden Daniels should be great to go for the Packers game. Nothing to worry about. Deron Payne balled out just like everybody else in that on the Commanders defense against the Giants. Calf injury, he's full, good to go. That's great to hear. Dietrich Wise, great game from him as well. Knee injury, full. I think this is like as unscathed as you can possibly be leaving an NFL game, especially in a quick turnaround 4 days later for a game. Because I feel like, you know, say for like Austin Eckler and Noah Brown, who were limited in practice. This were a normal week where we don't have a game until Sunday, you know, the first practice on Tuesday instead of Monday. Maybe they're full participants. Maybe they're good to go. But this week is so rushed and they don't want to overdo it with the practice. That's why Dan Quinn even said back a week or two ago that we're already starting to prepare for the Packers, because after we play the Giants, it's not to overlook the Giants as if they're just some scrub team or anything like that. But we have no time to prepare for the Packers after we play the Giants. So they already started to formulate some practices around how they're going to prepare for the Packers and things like that since even before we played the Giants, and there's a good reason for that. And so we'll see. So maybe if they're probably being precautionary with a lot of these injuries, where we're going to limit you or we're going to hold you out in Tressway's case to where it's not even worth it trying to force you to practice as soon as possible, because we've already done our due diligence back like a week or two ago in the practices before the season even started, before we even played the Giants. We feel prepared going to that Packers game, so we don't need to force anybody to practice more than we necessarily need them to potentially get them hurt even more. And then Grant Paulson or somebody asked a question to Dan Quinn about Deebo Samuel even returning kicks. I'm bringing this up in the injury part because this is an injury question. And Grant Paulson brought up the fact that he's vital to the offense. The special teams idea is great, but he'll probably break one at some point. Seems like added collisions you could avoid, though. Is Dan Quinn even worried about that? And then Dan Quinn gave this answer.
I wouldn't put him in if I felt like that would be the case, because I do know it's some game-breaking plays, but if we can be the best at that, then I think that's, a really big op to do it. It's definitely different than it was, just 2 years ago. They're closer. It's different. It's a more effective way, I think, with the kick and the kick returns. We're still learning it and growing, but I do feel like he's the type of person that can be a game breaker at it.
And I love that answer. I absolutely love that answer. He's basically saying, like he said at the end, like, I wouldn't have him out there if I didn't believe that he had game-changing ability. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to go out there and eventually return us like a kick or two this season and make some really game-changing plays that, like, maybe we don't win that game without that Deebo Samuel return. You got to put your best playmakers in the best situations. You have to monitor injuries. You have to be somewhat safe with things, but at the end of the day, man, let a playmaker make a play. And even if it's on special teams, and hopefully, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching Deebo Samuel on some of those returns. It did feel like he was taking some hits that he didn't necessarily have to take. Like, he was going head first into some collisions. I wish he would have tried to move out the way, or maybe just gone down a little early, knowing that he wouldn't be able to break those tackles. I don't know, but at the same time, a dog is a dog. You gotta let him do what he does. He's a guy that just eats contact and keeps on pushing. I'm hoping that he can hold up, but it's just kind of hard to put a leash on a guy that's what they do best. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to stifle their creativity and what they and the things that they're great at. So you got to live by it and then potentially die by it. Hopefully, we always live by it. Hopefully, Deebo Samuel just keeps going crazy. Hopefully, he stays healthy throughout the entire process, because he is arguably the best chance we have at a kick return for a touchdown out of this entire roster. And I would love to see. I truly do believe that we keep throwing him out there, he's going to break one this season. I really do. But again, he's so important to the offense. You're trying to weigh whether it's worth the risk or not. Deebo Samuel was arguably our most, at least, impactful skill position player in that Giants game. It's between him and Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, and you don't want to have Deebo Samuel hurt, because Deebo Samuel was not only just so important for what he did statistically, the things that you see in the highlight reels, but like just because of his threat, just because of who he is, we would send him in motion, the defense would go that way. Now Jayden Daniels has an easier way of running and scrambling. Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt has a bigger hole to run through because the defense is worried about him. Deebo Samuel's over here. Now Noah Brown's open over here. Like, Deebo Samuel's presence on the field means so much, even when he's not the one getting the ball. So having him healthy is huge for this offense, bro. We need him out there. And Ben Standig brought up a great point. He said, I totally get the concern. If the choice is between Deebo and Eckler, I endorse their choice. Because Deebo's yak, catch or carry, if you want yards after catch, yards after carry, game is elite, and finding ways to put the ball in his hands maximizes his abilities and aggressiveness. Also kind of probably gets him into the flow of the game. I want to add that, like, those kick return rushes are like, okay, I've already gotten hit, I've gotten some of the jitters out, I'm kind of in my mode, I'm starting to ramp, I'm starting to heat up throughout the course of the game, I'm starting to get into my flow. And then now when he gets the ball as a receiving option or a running option on offense, he's already kind of like in the game, or he's kind of in the zone a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a little warm up. And then meanwhile, Ben Standig brought up, the juxtaposition of Eckler, where prior to last season had not attempted a kick return since 2017. His movements are more subtle, not an ideal fit, plus wear and tear risk as well with him being an older player. I mean, Austin Eckler was, until the injuries started piling up, the concussion injuries on kick returns, he was like a top 5 kick returner last year, like on a per return basis. It was actually insane. But to Ben Standig's point, he didn't have a lot of experience doing it prior to us throwing him out there to do it last year. And so Deebo Samuel is a different case where you could he's a safer bet on kick returns to go out there, take contact, and stay healthy. I do agree with that. Now, before we get to the second half of this video, man, the Commanders just started 1-0, man. Football is back. You know what I'm saying? 1-0 start. We didn't even start 1-0 last season, and we went to an NFC Championship game. So we're already off to a better start than that season last year, where we had so much fun. And now with football being back, you now have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Not 100, 1,000 times. Y'all already saw the fantasy that I did where I turned 10 into 800 just this past weekend, man. You can go check it out. I showed y'all the picks that I made and everything like that in my review video of what happened in the Commanders-Giants game, because I was just so excited. I was like, wow, I actually did it. I had to wait until like the Baltimore Ravens and the Bills game to end, but I did it. I with those 8 picks, I turned 10 into 800. And watching football has never been more exciting, man. With elite defensive players like top 5 quarterback Jayden Daniels, you have a paid and happy Terry McLaurin that I can't wait for him to start to get involved in the offense, gain that chemistry back with Jayden Daniels, and you already see what Deebo Samuel's doing right now, along with guys like Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, how he's already contributing. And you can pick on stats for these guys like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and for more, up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper, bro. Don't sleep on Sleeper. And if you're right on your picks, man, you can win big money on it. Again, I turned 10 into 800. Like, this is proof of product. I'm not just making this up and just saying this. They're not telling me to tell y'all this. I showed y'all in my Commanders Giants review video that's over an hour long. Go to the middle point somewhere. I showed y'all my picks that I did by myself, 10 to 800, bro. And if you use promo code SCORE, that's SCORE, you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. You can even just click the link at the top of the description. In this video and every video that I'm going to be doing all season, all regular season, postseason, every video, every live stream. And just in case if y'all don't know about combo play, you can even miss picks on your sleeper injury if you want to go the combo play route and still cash in even if you missed a pick or two. And it's not just the Commanders in the NFL. You can bet daily fantasy. You can play daily fantasy. My fault, not bet. You can play daily fantasy for the NBA, MLB, NHL, college football, college basketball, and WNBA on Sleeper. Entries can be made in 30 seconds or less. They have a safe and fast withdrawal process. I already got the 800 that I won. Like, it's already on the way. They made that so smooth for me. And terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and $1 minimum entries for users. Let's take a look at the app ourselves, man. You know me, man. Until I really dive deep into my bag, maybe I'll start to dive a little deeper into it, maybe like Wednesday before the game, because we play Thursday. But before I start to really dive into trying to remake what I turned 10 and 800 with, I love to just go to the NFL popular duos. I mean, you literally just go to the app. You see at the top right there, you click on top, and then you go to popular duos. I click see all, and I'm already kind of like, even though I don't want to root for Micah Parsons to get a sack on Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels did get sacked a couple of times in that Giants game. Micah Parsons is better than any edge rusher that the Giants threw at us. Now, I feel like overall the Giants pass rush group is arguably the best in the NFL, but singular edge rusher, pass rusher, Micah Parsons is better than any individual pass rusher that we just played against the Giants. And I love Josh Connolly. I love Laramie Tunsil. Things happen. So if you feel like Micah Parsons is at least going to get one sack, you can go more. If you feel like Terry McLaurin is going to be able to finally have a good game this season, again, he didn't get a lot. And I mean, the refs kind of hated on him with that play that we challenged. They said it was dropped and stuff like that. If you believe Terry McLaurin can get 52 yards or more, man, here you go. You can put 10 and get 27 back. You can put 20 and get 54 back. You can put 100 and get 272 back, man. I'm looking at this one where I may include this in my overall, because when I do my bigger leg where I have like 8 of them, this may be something I'd include in there. Again, I don't like having a root for Micah Parsons to get a sack against Jayden Daniels, but I don't know, man. It may be something that happens. But stay tuned, man. Shouts out to Sleeper. Now let's get to the second half of this video. We got some Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt to talk about and break down, man. Is Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt the next rookie phenom to the level of like a Jayden Daniels? I'm going to talk about the fact that, first of all, Bill Cross-Merritt in his Commanders debut, how about 10 carries, 82 rushing yards? That's 8.2 yards per carry. I mean, the fact that he only had 10 carries and even 10 is easy to do that math. Just divide 82 by 10, 8.2. Just move that decimal point over just one spot. And he had a rushing touchdown. Also, I want to add to the fact that he had 3 missed tackles forced as well, bro. This guy is scary. Shouts out to Zach Selby for pointing out the fact that the 8.2 yards per carry yesterday, that was the third most among running backs with at least 10 carries out of the entire NFL. And this is the explosiveness that Adam Peters wanted out of the Washington's running backs room last season. You finally got it with Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt. And also, I want to add to the fact that Bill's 42-yard run towards the end of the game, they pretty much kind of almost led to a seal in the game, would have been the Commanders' second longest run all last season. Let me emphasize that. Bill's 42-yard run in his rookie debut, first game of his NFL career, would have been the second longest run that the Commanders had all last season, bro. Game 1. And it's really annoying that even though it would have been a tough block, I can admit, to get in front of the DB, but if Terry would have blocked number 21 on that play, go back and look at that play. If Terry blocks number 21, Bill rushes for a 95-yard touchdown instead. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that the one person that missed most of the offseason may not have necessarily 100% knew or believed that Bill had the potential to crib any run And so now, you know, then maybe he, you know, Terry wasn't aware that I should block this guy that's completely away from the play, because Ja'Cory may rip this off, and that guy could end up being the guy that tracks him down after he gets stopped and has to juke a couple of people out. Again, I don't want to point out the fact that I want to remind y'all, it was a tough block for Terry to achieve. Plus, maybe if Terry gets out there too early, maybe they consider it like an offensive pass interference or something like that. Who knows? Something. But man, what could have been, instead of a 42-yard run, it could have been a 95-yard touchdown run. And imagine the hype that this fan base and the entire NFL, especially fantasy owners, would have had if that was a touchdown run, if Terry McLaurin just makes that one block. But again, we're going to compare Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt to other rookie running backs real soon. But I feel like we might as well just go ahead and compare him to all of the top running backs in the NFL already. Because you had Computer Cowboy post this chart right here. He was talking about, is it already over for Christian McCaffrey and Walker already? Kenneth Walker? I mean, that's a good point. You have these categories of the bottom left are bad, the top left are boom or bust, where it's either a bad run or a good run. Then you have bottom right, consistent but no home runs. And then you have the top right, just pure good. So you have rushing yards over expected per carry over there on the y-axis, vertically on the left side. And then the x-axis, left to right, horizontally, you have percentage of carries exceeding expected yards. From this chart, not gonna lie to you, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt looks like the best running back in the NFL. It's like him and Trevor Etienne in their own class by themselves. Of course, you know, as the season goes on, this is a small sample size. This is only one game. So, of course, you know, things are going to start to, everybody's going to kind of like start to, you know, kind of meet in the middle a little bit. Everybody's going to start to gravitate and slowly fall into the middle. And there's not going to be as severe outliers. I mean, I'm going to assume, you know, it would be lovely if Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt can still find a way. But I just know Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt is not going to have this big gap over everybody for very long. But for now, off of just week one, and mind you, this is his first game of his NFL career, he looks like already one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. But shouts out to the 33rd team for also charting his runs right here. And this is just pretty, man. This is just pure electrifying explosion, bro. This chart is insane, bro, because everything green is 5 yards or more gained. Everything yellow is 0 to 5 yards gained. And then his only tackle for loss, that wasn't even his fault, but that's the one. He only has one red line. He only had one play where he lost any yardage, and the majority of his runs went for 5 or more yards. And of course, you have that touchdown on the right, where if he had more yards to go, nobody would have caught him. That could have been a 95-yard run. But then again, the Giants, you know, play defense differently, assuming that we probably run the ball up the middle and stuff like that. So, you know, hindsight 2020, but either way, that touchdown could have gone even further. And 33rd team even brought up the fact that JCM had the third lowest stuff rate of any running back with 10 plus carries in week one with 10%, and also the third most rushing yards over expected with plus 39. I don't think y'all heard me. The third lowest stuff rate, which means that when it comes to gaining no yards or less, Ja'Cory was the third best running back at avoiding that. No matter how many defensive players are in the box waiting for you, he was the third best running back in the entire NFL at avoiding that. And he also had the third most rush yards over expected. So based off of how the defense is aligned, based off of how your offense, your offensive line, your wide receivers, your tight ends block, the play calling, all of that stuff accounted for. Over expected, JCM was the third most impressive running back in the entire NFL, basically making something out of nothing or getting it out of the mud, excluding how things were blocked for you, excluding how well the defense played or how poorly the defense played, whatever, purely just getting it out of the mud. Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt is already the third best running back in the NFL just 1 week in. But the crazy part is he's not only just good for running, which is why he's going to be on the field a lot this year, more than y'all think, because he can block too. And his blocks even lead to touchdowns for other players. For example, shouts out to Nicky Javala. And I talked about this in my review video about how Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt had an important block in that Deebo Samuel in the round pin pull play touchdown thing towards the end of the game. But I love the fact that Nicky Javalis stacked all 3 pictures on top of each other and showed you how Luke McCaffrey at the top had an important block. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in the middle had a really important block. Laramie Tunsil had a really important block as well. And of course, John Bates. Any big running play we have, John Bates is always involved. But that's kind of like one of those assumed ones. I like the fact that Nicky Javalis pointed out the people that maybe we didn't necessarily expect. And I love Laramie Tunsil, but he's one of the furthest players down the field getting a block as they left tackle. We couldn't do that. As much as I love Brandon Coleman and as much as I try to defend Andrew Wiley from this fan base, though neither of those guys can get down the field like Laramie Tunsil did right there to make that block that you see at the bottom of the picture, bro. This is absolutely insanity. And again, the fact that Ja'Cory, shouts out, I mean, I think we need to take some time, even though this is a JCM appreciation video. Luke McCaffrey is blocking Abdul Carter on this play. First of all, for Cliff Kingsbury to even trust him to do that, insane, bro. So even though Luke McCaffrey didn't go out there and get a bunch of catches, he matters to this offense. Deebo Samuel does not score that touchdown without this Luke McCaffrey block. Same thing with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, which takes me to the point that this guy's going to be on the field a lot moving forward, because now Cliff Kingsbury can trust him to make blocks that are necessary. Now, I got to go back and look at the All-22 to see how he did pass protection-wise, but run blocking, that boy Ja'Cory ready right now. And now, let's take a step back. Yes, Ja'Cory looks like one of the best running backs in the entire NFL already, but how about we compare him to some of his draft mates? And right now, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has 82 yards rushing. He's first out of all rookie running backs in this 2025 draft class. Shouts out to RJ Harvey of the Denver Broncos. He's at 70. That's a whole 12-yard gap. And then you got to go all the way down to 48 for Marion Hampton of the Los Angeles Chargers, right? And so, as you can tell, Ashton Jeanty wasn't even in that top 3. You know what I'm saying? So, shouts out to Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the most impressive rookie running back already. And remember, not only was he a 7th-round pick, he was a 0-star recruit. And going back to that 7th-round pick, interesting stat right there. Shouts out to Michael F. Florio. Pointed out the fact that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is the first player in NFL history drafted outside of the top 200 picks with a 75-plus rushing yard and a touchdown in their debut game in the NFL career. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt already making NFL history, but I mean, how many times I got to tell y'all that I was not playing with y'all and I was screaming at the Commanders to draft this guy as early as the 6th round. So I'm not the least bit surprised, but I am happy and proud, man. And again, if Terry gets that block, again, I want to emphasize it was a tough block, but if Terry gets that block, Terry would have had 135 yards rushing in that game instead of just 82. And even, again, just the 82 was enough to be the best, to have the most rushing yards out of any rookie running back in the draft class in week 1. And I also really want to re-emphasize, please remember, this guy did all of that in 10 carries throughout the entire game. He did all of that damage and produced all of those elite advanced stats in just 10 carries. A lot of running backs, it takes them a few carries to even get warmed up and in the flow, getting their vision right, getting their legs moving. As a veteran, we're talking about guys well into their 20s, well into several years in the NFL already. We're talking about a rookie in his first game in the NFL season, especially after missing an entire season of college football. He goes out there in his first game, 10 carries, and does that type of damage. I don't think y'all are really understanding how phenomenal that is, bro. He's exceeding my expectations in that way right there. But hey, man, now Commanders, Bill did his part. Now we have to do ours. Shouts out to all of y'all Commanders fans out there. It is our turn. Bill went crazy on Sunday. How about we go crazy for him on Tuesday? At some point later on today, again, right now it's 5 a.m. while I'm recording this, we can start voting for the Offensive Rookie of the Week awards. We can start voting for all of the different weekly awards, but Bill for Offensive Rookie of the Week has some real legs to it, just like JCM does, man. Shouts out to Emeka Egbuka for what he did, his 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's cute. But Egbuka looked like one of the best rookie wide receivers this past weekend, while Bill looked like one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. Not just the rookies, the entire NFL. There's a difference there. And Bill would have had 2 touchdowns as well if Terry was able to get that block. I know I keep you know, really getting on that block. But I'm like, literally go look at the play. We're just a Terry block away from that being a 95-yard touchdown. Like, remember how we were going crazy last season, especially with Jayden Daniels winning all of those weeks, all of those awards every week and stuff like that, because we kept voting for it. He wasn't just winning those by accident or by just, you know, the NFL voting for it. Those were fans voting for all of those weekly Offensive Rookie of the Week awards for Jayden Daniels. Let's see if we can get that thing going again this year with JCM, especially with him being a running back instead of a quarterback. Let's see what our voting power really is. Of course, a lot of it, most of it, has to do with how great Jayden Daniels was last year and how great JCM has so far been for us this season. But let's show our voting power, man. Let's go out there and get JCM that Offensive Rookie of the Week. I mean, you see a lot of good candidates on the screen right now, but I still feel like, not even just being a homer, JCM deserves the vote. And I'm not gonna lie, while we're at it, I think Trey Amos honestly deserves vote for Defensive Rookie of the Week. I mean, come on now. First of all, rookie corner. I keep emphasizing, corner and quarterback are the two toughest positions to make that jump from college to the NFL, especially as a rookie. So we're talking about a rookie corner. We're talking about in his first NFL game ever in his career, covering Malik Neighbors, the best wide receiver in the division and a top 7 receiver in the NFL. And he was on an island, y'all. I want to emphasize that he was on an island. He was not getting safety help like Quinyon Mitchell was getting a lot last year, when he was getting a lot of the votes and stuff like that. Amos was on a true island, no safety help, one-on-one with Malik Neighbors. Come on, bro. I think he has a real shot in an honest voice and stance to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I really think he has an honest case to win that. I think he definitely deserves this week. I mean, I got to go out there and look around and see maybe if there was some edge rusher, some rookie edge rusher that just went crazy or something. But I think out of all corners, Trey Amos definitely had the most impressive rookie debut. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if everything discussed in the video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all for supporting the videos, man. Really appreciate y'all for watching all the way to the end, man. Shouts out to my watch to the end gang. Shouts out to my late night crew, because I'm still recording this at 5:07 a.m. Who knows when this video is finally going to get uploaded to y'all once I finally edit it and do all of that type of stuff. So I really appreciate y'all, man. Like, if you're still watching this video right now, salute to you personally, man. Really appreciate that. Leave a like on the way out, and of course let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. How you feel about the Commanders missing out on Kendrick Bourne? How do you feel about the injury report that I gave you? The fact that it's great news, we seem to be, you know, pretty healthy going into this pack. Again, some teams out there have already lost significant starters and stars on their team to season-ending injuries. You know, knock on wood, thank goodness we're still good to go, especially on a short week having to go to Green Bay. They look like a good team, especially how they played the Lions. Let me know how you feel about that. And of course, let me know how you feel about JCM. And now that I'm talking about it, Tre'Davious Amos as well, as deserving to be the Offensive Rookie of the Week and the Defensive Rookie of the Week, respectively. Let me know how y'all feel about all of that in the comment section. I'm going to try my best to read and reply to as many as possible. Leave a like on the way out. I'm going to catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.